Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu. My dear students, in today's topic we are going to see sources of borrowed capital, that is debenture, its meaning and definition. Before starting with debentures, let's have a quick introduction to what are the sources of borrowed capital. Now see here, to start a business or to form a joint stock company is not an easy task. Huge capital is required for the same, right? So now, only owned capital is not sufficient to carry on all business activities of joint stock company. See, it's not at all possible for a company to start without borrowing money in the initial stage or in the later stage when the company wants to diversify or when the company wants to expand its business. A company needs borrowed capital to supplement its owned capital. Now, to supplement its owned capital, that means to add extra capital, to add extra borrowed capital to its owned capital. The word supplement means addition, or I can say extra. Now see, every trading company is entitled to borrow money. Every trading company is allowed to borrow money. And yes, there are certain provisions regarding the same we are going to see now. See, however, it is a normal practice to have an express provision in the Memorandum of Association enabling a company to borrow money. Now, Memorandum of Association, most important document of a company which has got all the information related to the external affairs, external management of the company. You have got name clause, address clause, object clause, right? So yes, in the Memorandum of Association, there is an express provision. Now let's see what is express provision. Express provision means that the subject is specifically addressed, that is talked about in writing. So yes, in the beginning itself, it is written in the Memorandum of Association that through which ways company is going to borrow money, that is what are the instruments company is going to issue to borrow money, which we are going to see in the coming lectures. But now see here, express provision is there in the Memorandum of Association regarding borrowed capital, and which enables a company to borrow money. To enable means to allow. It is allowed in the Memorandum of Association itself that a company can borrow money. Now see, memorandum authorizes company to exercise borrowing powers, right? Memorandum gives the permission to a company to borrow money, whereas articles of association provides as to how and by whom these powers shall be exercised. Articles of association, second most important document of the company, which deals with the internal management of the company. So yes, Articles of Association provides as how and by whom. How, that is in which form you are going or the company is going to borrow money, and by whom, that is who has got the powers to raise borrowed capital. So yes, the power to borrow money is normally exercised by board of directors of the company. Yes, board of directors, elected representative of shareholders who manage the company on behalf of the shareholders, right? Now see, a private company may exercise its borrowing powers immediately after incorporation. That is, when a private company gets the certificate of incorporation, the private company gets a go ahead. That is, the private company is in the position to borrow money. But it's not the same for the public company. See, public company cannot exercise its borrowing power until it secures certificate of commencement of business. Certificate of commencement of business is compulsory for a public company to acquire. Without this, a company is not in the position to start, and a company is not in the position to borrow additional capital. See, the capital may be borrowed for short, medium or long-term requirement. It is better to raise borrowed capital at a later stage of company's business when company want to expand or diversify its business and it requires additional capital. It is, it's always suggested that the company should borrow capital in the later stage. In the later stage, that means when the company is set up already, the company is working good after 5 years or 6 years, when the company is stable, and when the company wants to expand or diversify its business, it is advisable for a company to raise capital in the form of borrowed capital. See certain important points regarding borrowed capital, or I can say additional capital. See, additional capital can be raised by issue of debentures, accepting deposits, by issuing bonds, or by taking loans from the commercial banks and financial institutions. Now let's see what are the returns the investors get on borrowed capital. Let it be debentures, let it be deposits, bonds, or loans. Simple it is. Interest is paid on borrowed capital. See, when it's compared to share, owned capital, what is the return shareholders get? Dividend, the term return on investment for shares is dividend, we have already studied. So yes, return on borrowed capital, let it be in any of the forms, loans, bonds, deposits, or debentures, interest is the return. So I can say interest is paid on borrowed capital. Company pays interest. Now it is paid at fixed rate. The rate of interest is fixed. And lastly, borrowed capital is repayable after a specific period of time. Company has to repay. Company compulsorily has to repay its borrowed capital after specific period of time. Now coming to the very first one in borrowed capital is debentures. Today we are going to see meaning and definition. See, debentures are one of the principal sources of raising borrowed capital. Principal, initial, most important source of raising borrowed capital to meet long-term and medium-term financial needs. When the company needs additional capital for medium or for long-term, debentures are suitable. So yes, company issues debentures and raises borrowed capital. See, over the years, debentures has occupied a significant position, an important position in the financial structure of the companies. When you form your balance sheet, you will find a position for the debenture in the same. Now we will see from where the word debenture is arrived. See, the term debenture has come from the Latin word debere, which means to owe. Latin word debere, which means to owe. To owe means you have got a liability, that is you are going to pay that money to the person you have borrowed from. You can see here in the example, this person is saying to the lady, do you remember the money you owe to me? That is the money you are supposed to give me. So yes, company owes money to the debenture holders. That is, the company is supposed to pay money to the debenture holders. Now see here how it actually works. The same we have seen in the earlier lectures for the shares. This is how it works for the debenture as well. Just the meaning and features are different. But when the company wants to raise capital, what company will do? Company will give debenture certificate, and in return the person, that is debenture holder, will pay money to the company. Okay. Then investor, an investor who invests in debenture is known as debenture holders of the company, or I can say debenture holder of the company. So yes, the investor pays money and gets the debenture certificate. At that time only that person becomes the debenture holder of the company. Okay, so the investor, the person who invests in debenture, is known as debenture holder of the company. Now see, the term debenture has not been defined clearly under Companies Act. Section 230 of the Companies Act 2013 only states that the word debenture includes debenture stock. That means debentures from different companies. Stock we have already seen when we were doing equity share capital, right? See, the word debenture includes debenture stock, bonds, and any other instrument of a company evidencing a debt. Evidencing, that is, proving a debt, proving a liability, whether constituting a charge on the asset of the company or not. Now see, constituting, that is forming a charge on the asset of the company or not. Now see, what is constituting a charge on the asset? It means that the right of people who are owed money by company to receive money from the company's asset if the debt is not paid on time. That means if a company fails to pay the money, the person or the investor has got the right to sell the asset of the company and to get the money. This is known as creating charge on the asset of the company. Now see, under the existing definition, debenture includes debenture stock. We have just seen. Now, debenture means, what is actually a debenture? Debenture is nothing but a document which either creates an or acknowledges debt. To acknowledge means to admit or to accept. When the company issues debenture certificate, company accepts that company has borrowed money from the investor, that is debenture holder, and company even acknowledges that the company is going to repay money after certain period of time. Now see, ordinarily debenture constitutes a charge on some property of company. Debenture has got charge on some of the property of the company, but there may be a debenture without any such charges. Company may create a charge for debenture holders, or company may not create charge for the same. Now see, Palmer defines debenture as a debenture as an instrument under seal. Instrument under seal, a document under seal of the company, signature of the company, the stamp, evidencing debt, proving debt, proving liability, the essence of it being admission of indebtedness. Now, essence means the reality or the actuality of indebtedness. Indebtedness means obligation, or again I can say the liability or the arrears the company is supposed to pay. So see, a debenture as an instrument under seal evidencing debt, the essence of it being admission of indebtedness. Now, the other definition is, see, Toffen defines debenture as a debenture is a document given by the company. We have seen in the starting, just like the share certificates, company issues debenture certificates to the debenture holders, to the investors. A debenture is a document given by a company as evidence of debt, proof of liability to the holder, usually arising out of loan. This is nothing but a loan, and most commonly secured by charge. Most commonly, that is, normally the debentures are secured under the charge. Okay. See, according to the above definitions, the two definitions we have just seen, you are supposed to do any one of them. But let's see here, according to the above definitions, debenture is an evidence of indebtedness, that is liability. It is an instrument issued in the form of debenture certificate. We have seen in the starting under the common seal of the company. So most important thing you are supposed to remember regarding debenture is company issues debenture certificate under the common seal. It is nothing but an evidence of liability which company gives. The company evidences give proof that yes, this is a liability and we are going to repay the money. See, this is how a debenture certificate looks like. See, you can notice the common seal here at the bottom. The name of the company is written, common seal is there, and this is a paper which is nothing but debenture certificate. See above, the number of the certificate has also been mentioned, just like the share certificates, right? Share certificates have got distinctive numbers. Same here, the debenture has got certain number above here, the stamp and company's name, most important. That's all for today, class. Thank you.